Today is a big day, VSHOJO COCKTAILS. And there you have your Hime Hajime, Henya The Genius. This is the Ironmouse. There you have your Matara Kan. If communion tasted like that, I'd still be going to church. Is sacrilegion allowed on the channel? I can't do this. I'm sick. I mean, you can see it. Here. Oh, no, that's fine, right? Anyways, what was I saying? To think outside of the box, in the end, it just tastes really good. Hello! Today is a big day, because despite covering all sorts of VTubers in all sorts of contexts, there is one major group that I have let slip through my fingers and somehow never covered on this channel. And I'll be honest with you, I have no excuse as to why that's the case. So why don't we finally remedy that fact and make VSHOJO COCKTAILS? And what better place to start than with Hime Hajime? It's a little bit of a Japanese joke for you. Hajime, start. It's the same thing. Also, I'm sick. I was sick last time I recorded, actually, and then I got better, and then like 2 days ago I got sick again. So if I sound weird or look more dead than usual, that's why. Now for Hime, the floor is concrete, I should not be doing that. Now for Hime, I'm gonna need some ice. I'll be right back. And in, I think, a first for the channel, I was actually able to ask Hime what she thought would be a good idea for her drink, and she said she liked more refreshing drinks like a gin and tonic, and thus recommended that I do some kind of take on that. I think I've got something pretty good here. That being said, this isn't the most complicated drink. It's a take on a gin and tonic, which is 2 ingredients. So there's not a ton of room to work with there. But as I said, I think this is a pretty interesting drink. I think it tastes really nice. I think it fits Hime pretty well. And I need to stop stalling and just make it for you. We're gonna start with 2 ounces of gin. You can use whatever gin you want. I'm using this Monk's Road dry gin because A, I like it, and B, it says it has citrus notes, which is gonna work well with the next ingredient, which is blood orange ginger beer. Now, why this instead of a tonic? Well, it's carbonated like tonic, it's got the nice red coloring to match Hime, plus with her being an alien robot dragon hybrid, the ginger adds a nice spice as an homage to that, as well as the spicy kinds of games she likes to play. Plus the blood orange, and then, I mean, you can see it. And I could keep going with other reasons, but in the end, it just tastes really good. So we're gonna add about 4 ounces of that. And lastly, a sprig of rosemary for garnish. And there you have your Hime Hajime. Oh. I mean, that's exactly what was asked for. That is extraordinarily refreshing. The blood orange and the ginger work perfectly with the botanicals in that gin. It is, You'd think that those flavors would be so strong that the ginger beer would be too spicy, the blood orange would be too citrusy. But no, the gin really pulls it back and puts them all into perspective. And it's just this wonderful brunch time drink. This is a patio drink right here. This is so nice, so cool. There's just that little bit of heat from the ginger beer that is not even close to being unpleasant. I don't think anybody would really complain about that spice level because it's not getting to the point of hurting at all. It's just a very nice warming heat that radiates in your mouth while the rest is so cool and refreshing. Oh, I adore this drink. I really do. I mean, I'm not a huge gin guy. I don't drink gin normally. I've certainly made gin drinks that I've enjoyed on this channel. But this is one I could see myself coming back to. It's obviously very easy. It's so tasty. It's so easy to drink. I have a clear bias towards ginger beer, I'll be honest. I think that's gotta be clear by now. I just really like ginger beer. But here, it is just the right amount that I don't think it could turn too many people off who usually don't like ginger or like ginger beer. The blood orange really helps it. The gin really helps it. The rosemary on the nose is just accentuating all of that. I mean, it's hard to say much. It's just good. It is a wonderful showcase of those botanical gin flavors. The blood orange is a nice, accessible citrus addition to it. And then the ginger skips along the palate before providing this lasting, lingering warmth that juxtaposes to the cold drink perfectly. For the challenge of making a 2-ingredient cocktail, I don't know if I could have done much better than this. Up next, we have truly just a bias pick. I'm not gonna pretend like it isn't. True SteveSekai heads will know why. This drink is for Henya The Genius. Now this one actually has a little bit of a story. For a very long time, my idea for Henya's drink was to do a take on a cocktail I found called the Brainstorm. Because I mean, come on, that's a pretty solid idea, right? The Brainstorm is a drink typically made with Irish whiskey, so my idea was to do it with Japanese whiskey, because Henya is half Japanese. So for a stream I did the other night, I got this bottle of Toki, I looked at the recipe, and realized I needed Benedictine. And I don't have Benedictine. Could I have gotten it for this video? Sure, maybe. But that night, I didn't have any. And I couldn't leave the stream to go get some. And so I needed to make something to keep the content going. And that's when I had what I can only describe as a flash of genius. And so inspired by Henya's massive IQ and my need to keep drinking that night, this drink was born. We're going to start with 2 ounces of Suntory Toki whiskey, followed by 3/4 of an ounce of Cointreau, 1/4 ounce of Yuzu Juice. Oh, this is really stuck on there. Fuck. Oh, there we go. 1/2 ounce of our 2-to-1 simple syrup. And finally, 2 dashes of Angostura Bitters. Give that a nice shake. And an open pour. Oh, I forgot the garnish. Hold on. This orange is gigantic. Oh my god. You know what? This is gonna look really funny. I can't do this. You know what? Fuck it. Garnish it with the world's largest orange wheel. Oh, that's really funny, actually. I really like that. And there you have your... Oh, no. And there you have your Henya The Genius. Oh my god. A.K.A. the Dayo. Oh my god. That drink is so good. When I called it a flash of genius, I wasn't joking at all. That is incredible. Something in there, the yuzu, is becoming almost minty, which is such a fascinating flavor up front. It tricks you into thinking it's mint for a second before giving back away into the citrus and the whiskey and the Angostura. It's this beautiful little trick your brain plays on you for a second. Yeah, where it's almost like spearmint for a second there. That's crazy. And then you have your gigantic orange wheel. Love some good orange. I'm just gonna eat this. I mean, I'm in love with that drink. Up front is the yuzu, but the yuzu is being transformed by everything else to make you think it's that weird kind of spearmint flavor for a second before your brain relaxes and goes, oh no, okay, this is citrus. All right. And then the Angostura comes in, and the Angostura with the Toki is almost creamy, almost this creamy kind of flavor. And as you swallow, the Cointreau comes back, brings the citrus back, brings the yuzu back into this wonderful kind of orangey, citrusy treat at the end. I mean, that tastes like candy. That tastes like some kind of orange creamy candy. Almost dreamsicle-esque, almost, but not quite. The vanilla's not, well, maybe the vanilla's in the Toki, but Toki has a lot of ginger flavor. That is definitely where the creaminess is coming from. That creamy flavor. I think it is that. That's kind of making it feel like creamsicle. The Ango is this perfect addition. It's wonderful. It made me realize that the Iris Cosmopolitan from one of my Star Rail videos, that's what it was missing. The trouble I was having with it, the lack of body, I was able to get a little bit of it back with using the bourbon instead of the vodka that they used in the original. But Angostura, I think, would have fixed it all. It's really bringing the yuzu back into balance. It's really informing it in a new complex way. So it's not just this one note fruit flavor that's punching you in the mouth. Still, if you're using yuzu juice in a drink, I don't think you should use that much of it. It is very strong. I recommend 1/4 ounce at most in most drinks. But it is this wonderfully fascinating flavor that is so different from the other citruses we usually use that I think it's really worth playing with in your cocktails. I highly recommend getting a little bottle of yuzu juice and throwing it into something that you want to be citrusy in a new kind of way. Just be ready to need something to pull its kind of tart flavor down a lot. You might need a good bit of simple, like in this drink. That is also helping a lot. when I was making it the first time, I tried it without the simple first. It was super tart, so that's why I added it, and that brought it all together a lot better. That is phenomenal. I love this drink so much. This might be one of the best drinks I've ever made. And I made it at random, on a whim. It was a flash of genius. Oh, I love it. I love it, I love it, I love it. That is beautiful, Dayo. Alright, you knew it was coming. This is the Ironmouse. Now for Ironmouse, I wanted to try and make a mocktail because I wanted it to be something that she could enjoy herself. I feel like it would kind of suck to have a drink named after yourself that you can't have. So even though I've been pretty bad with including mocktails in the past, I really wanted to challenge myself to make something that is delicious and fun and inventive, and I think we've got it. So this is the Mouse-arita. So as that name implies, this is a take on a margarita. And by that I mean, we're actually just straight up using a margarita mix. This here is SteveSekai's Strawberry Margarita Mix. When I did a stream way back trying pre-made cocktail mixers, this was the only good one I had. And it's not just good, it's pretty damn good. So if you want to make a regular strawberry margarita and don't want to bother with the extra steps, this is a pretty good purchase. It tastes really nice. Plus it's pink, like Ironmouse. Yeah, that's kind of a running theme. All of these are shades of pink or red, inspired by her many multi-dimensional forms. Now this is already half empty because I invented this drink on stream last night. By the way, if you haven't figured it out, I stream myself making cocktails just about every week, and often that includes figuring out drinks for videos. So hey, if you want to see that thought process live, don't forget to subscribe and ring that bell so you don't miss out on all those streams. And if you do miss them, it's fine. Just become a member and you get all of those VODs. All of that to say, I know there's 4 ounces of this left. So, 4 ounces of our SteveSekai's margarita mix. And just in case you're worried, margarita mix is alcohol-free. That's the point. You can buy it in groceries. You're just supposed to add the tequila later, which we're not gonna do. And now we're gonna add 1.5 ounces of apple juice, followed by 1/2 ounce of cranberry cocktail, or cranberry juice, whatever you want to call it. And now we shake that. Then open pour into our margarita glass before topping with some sparkling pink grapefruit. And now I do highly recommend giving it a little stir just to mix in that grapefruit. As the sparkling part implies, it's a bad idea to shake it, so that's why you have to add it at the end. And now for our garnish, we're gonna garnish it with some strawberry and some grapefruit. And there you have the Ironmouse, aka the Mouse-arita. Oh, that is so tasty. Oh. I know I've done that for all 3 of these drinks, but I do mean it. They're all really good, and that is my genuine first reaction. The nice part about that sparkling grapefruit is that the grapefruit is bitter enough in this drink that it actually makes it still feel like a cocktail. It still tastes kind of like a cocktail. It's providing this acidic bitter flavor is reminiscent of having alcohol in here. When I made it last night, I tried it before and after the grapefruit, and it was delicious. It was very, very sweet, but with the grapefruit, it transforms it into feeling like a true mocktail. It really does start to feel like a cocktail, like a real margarita. I think if you serve this to someone, they're not gonna feel like they're missing out on anything. I really like this drink. It is super sweet. That's probably not a surprise. It's a lot of fruit juice and margarita mix. But honestly, if you're getting a margarita at a restaurant, it's gonna be this sweet. It's gonna feel like this. So for people who like to go to a Chili's or a chain restaurant or something like that and get flavored margaritas that are hyper sweet, this is gonna be right on the mark. This is something that you'll still really enjoy. You're not gonna miss the tequila at all. And honestly, I think it would detract from how tasty this is. Oh, and I mean it when I say that. I mean it. That grapefruit is spot on. That grapefruit is just enough of a profile change on the whole palate that it brings it together into feeling like something truly cocktail-esque instead of just, this is a bunch of fruit juices together. It gives it a nice fun texture because it's sparkling. It gives it a bitterness that counteracts the cranberry and the apple juice and the agave nectar and strawberry and lime juice in this mix. It balances it all perfectly, and it just turns into this wonderful, still sweet, still very sweet, but wonderfully fruit salad-esque experience. It is great. It's just great. This is so good. I'm now realizing that my margarita mix was expired. That's fine, right? I was fine last night. I think I'll be fine tonight. It's okay. This is still good. You should still go buy the Tres Agaves strawberry margarita mix just to make this. I adore this drink so much. If I ever have to go sober, I will be able to rest easy knowing I'll be able to make this. This is so stellar, I honestly think it makes up for the fact that I didn't put mocktails in most of my other videos. So this one's for you, Mousy. Oh my god, that's so good. And so we arrive at our final cocktail of the evening. This is the Matara Kan. Now, of course, I would be an idiot to do a Matara Kan cocktail and not include red wine. That being said, the obvious red wine cocktail is to do a sangria, and I feel like that's boring. So inspired by doing the Devil's Margarita, I wanted to think outside of the box, outside of the bottle, and try to make another cocktail interesting using the red wine, instead of just doing what anyone would expect and doing sangria. And so, this is the Matara Manhattan. Now, a typical Manhattan uses sweet vermouth. Vermouth is fortified wine, which means it's wine with added botanicals and such to the flavor, and sweet vermouth is specifically red wine. So the idea was to replace the sweet vermouth with proper normal red wine and see how that would affect the flavor profile of a Manhattan. Shocker, it's quite a bit. It still has, well, we'll get into it. A Manhattan is traditionally made with Rye Whiskey. I'm using Knob Creek Rye because I like it. So we're gonna do 2 ounces of Rye Whiskey, followed by 1 ounce of our red wine. I'm using a Cabernet Sauvignon. Like most reds, it's got a very large body. It tends to be a little sweeter. It's got some berry flavors in it. I was trying to pick one that is gonna be more reminiscent of sweet vermouth, hence why I went with this one, because it's a lot sweeter than a lot of other reds. And to complement its dark fruit and berry kinds of flavors, we're gonna add 2 dashes of Rhubarb Bitters instead of the traditional Angostura. I know, Steven not using Angostura? What's happening? I tried, it just doesn't actually work that well in here. I don't know what to tell you. And then a Manhattan is stirred and served up traditionally in a martini glass, but in honor of what we're doing here, I feel like it's only proper to serve it in a wine glass. Now you have your Matara Kan, aka your Matara Manhattan. Wow. Ooh, where to start? It is rich berries. It's almost reminiscent of like cranberry cocktail. That is so cool. Oh, okay. It is rich. It is obviously going to be very rich, very full-bodied. The red wine is going to guarantee that. The rhubarb is complementing it so perfectly, so interestingly. It is what is informing the flavor of the rest of it. The whiskey, really a backseat here. I'm not getting a ton of the whiskey. I'm getting its strength. I'm getting its burn. But the body is full on that red wine. The finish is a red wine. The flavor up front is that rhubarb that kind of gives way into a lot of those darker, richer notes of the red wine. There it is, turning into a sommelier now. By aerating it, I did get a lot more of the whiskey. I started to feel it a lot more. Oh, I'm starting to feel it a lot more down in here. It is starting to warm up everything else. The whiskey is coming back, actually. That is such a fascinating flavor. That is so cool. That is absolutely a cocktail for red wine enjoyers. It is so different than using sweet vermouth. You still get its full body. You still get a lot of the sweetness. Okay, maybe it's not so different. The flavor is different. The feelings are a lot of the same. It's very big. It's very sweet. When you're missing all of those added botanicals and such, you're left with that raw power of a glass of red wine. Wine isn't in a lot of cocktails because it stands on its own. And so adding it here, kind of like with the Devil's Margarita, is powering it in a completely different way. It's a totally different take on the drink, even though it's only really replacing something that should be really similar here. I have an idea. I was thinking about cherry bitters because Manhattans tend to have a pretty strong cherry flavor, but then I also forgot I had cranberry bitters, which is another very dark fruit, a dark berry. Just a couple drops. Come on, there you go. I was gonna say the cranberry changes it too much. I lost a bunch of the flavor, but the finish there was wild. I was right back in church taking communion. That red wine finish was amped up incredibly. That's interesting. Let's try with the cherry. Honestly, I think I had it right the first time. I don't think it needs either of those. I think it is fascinating enough on its own that trying to pull it some other way is not worth it. Oh shit, my battery's about to die. Hold on. And that, chat, is why you always have 2 camera batteries. Anyways, what was I saying? I feel like trying to force it into being something it's not does it a disservice. I think the rhubarb is the right call. That really pulls it into being something interesting and honestly more palatable. There was something about the Angostura that was bringing out, granted I was using bourbon last night, that could have been it. It was pulling out so much of the corn that it wasn't working. It wasn't working right. I think the rhubarb was the right call. I think this is so much more interesting, so much more tasty. I mean, that's worth trying at least once in your life. I'll be honest, that's probably not for everybody, but red wine isn't for everybody. But if you like red wine, you should really give this a shot. This is so interesting. This is such a fascinating flavor. If communion tasted like that, I'd still be going to church. Jesus, make your blood taste better. Is sacrilegion allowed on the channel? I guess that's up to me to decide, but I really like that. I do. I really like that. It is so interesting. Oh, okay. And there you have it. 4 VSHOJO cocktails for you to enjoy, all of which, and I mean this wholeheartedly, super delicious. I'm super happy with how all 4 of these turned out. I think they are all well worth your time to try and make. 2 of them aren't even that complicated. I mean, come on. And this one's not that hard either. None of them are really that hard. Getting some Yuzu Juice and Toki might be a little hard, but the rest of this is pretty easy. This one was 2 ingredients. I'm pretty sure you can handle that. So seriously, pick at least one and try it. You will not regret it. I love all 4 of these drinks, and I could not be more happy that my first VShojo video was this. It has been a massive hole in the channel for a long time, and I acknowledge that. I think every member is fantastic. I think they do such incredible work. I really admire all of them. I have no excuse for why it took me this long, but if taking this long led to this, I think it was worth it. So thank you again so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I really enjoyed making it, I can tell you that. So please let me know down below if you want to see more VShojo, more VTubers, more of anything. If you've got an idea, throw it out there. It might stick. I might do it. I don't know what I'm doing next. And if anybody from VShojo happens to be watching, thank you. Seriously, like I said, I really look up to you all. I think you all do fantastic work. I am sorry that I couldn't fit every member into one video, but hey, that means more potential content for you in the future, so please let me know if you want to see that. I would be more than happy to return to VShojo. And please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, do all of the YouTube things, and especially share it with anybody you know who loves VShojo or VTubers or cocktails. You know the drill at this point, hopefully. Just share it, please. I'm begging you. And hey, if you want to support the show more directly, please consider becoming a member, where you get early access to videos, exclusive videos, all of my stream VODs. I try very hard to make it worth your while, so I would really appreciate it if you consider doing so. But again, if you can't, that's fine. Just liking, commenting, subscribing, and sharing are all more than enough to help the show, and I do really appreciate any of it. So thank you again so much for watching, and I don't have an ending. Dayo.